This is my favorite video game, number 3. My name is Josh Gallegos, your host, and today we are going to be talking about all sorts of different video game news, so let's get into it. Of course, as a source from the Games You blog, my favorite video game is going to highlight everything going on in the games industry, why it's important to you, to me, to everybody that be, and then also to take a moment, talk about a video game, explain a few things about the goodness of what's going on. And really, this is supposed to be your one-stop shop for all sorts of information. My goal is to really be educational to those on the outside who maybe don't really understand some of the terms or some of the hype or the appeal. And a lot of the times we shun them and we push them aside and we get into our niches instead of trying to help them out. And so I want to be able to help bridge that gap, explain, educate, and then also be the one-stop shop for all the good stuff, the important news, and diving deep into really what's going on in the gaming space and what you should be aware of. So hopefully in this way, I can fulfill all your needs, Master. And I hope that that is the way that this conversation and our relationship works out. In any case, that's a phrase I want to get rid of right there. I started out. It's so nice to jump into because I know I can say it clearly. I think that's part of it for me. This is a phrase I'm trying to get out of my vocabulary because it is very clearly right now verbal clutter. I think I counted it like in every single transition in my last podcast. So if I say it, call me out. I may not notice it, and if I go back and I have to take care of it, I'm going to do that, obviously. But I really hope I don't have to. And I guess we'll see what that looks like going forward. Let's go ahead and jump into the news for this week, and we got a whole lot of news for the industry. And honestly, days like these where we can really dig deep into everything that's going on. And it's that season. The fall season is just a big time for games and news. Lots of releases. The holiday season's coming up, so people are gearing up for all the 1-2 punches that are going to end out the year on big bucks. You know what I'm saying? Got to get them big bucks in. So let's jump into the news. Now, I'm going to do this a little bit differently this week, and going forward, I hope to be able to break this down a little bit more into specific categories. So first off, I'm going to break down stories, headlines, different tidbits. Maybe there were conference information pieces that I need to break down, stuff like that. And then I'm going to jump into the reacts. I had a good amount of feedback from my reaction to the KFC trailer. So I want to take that concept and really build on it here with live reacts to things that are coming out this week. So if there was a trailer that was released, if there was a piece of gameplay that I was curious about, we'll watch it together. It'll be an interesting way to kind of see something new to really be learning alongside and be on top of what's going on while also seeing my reactions. And actually, hopefully next week I'll have more video going on. I have a camera and I just got a tripod, and now that I have the two set up, I can put it up here. It'll look nice. And we can have a great little studio here. And I'm really excited for it and what I can do with the YouTube content going forward. For podcast listeners, of course, this is going to be the same thing. But hopefully the structure that I'm presenting here is going to help with the news breakdown. So, of course, we have the story headlines first, news breakdown. And honestly, that's going to be the biggest chunk, more than likely, every week. And then we're also going to have live reacts to different things that are going on. And we're going to close out with review roundup for the week. With the review roundup, I want to make sure that we're talking through the different games, mostly looking through OpenCritic, Metacritic, and other sources that are score aggregates, seeing what they have to say and what games are good and what games are bad this week. That way, you're informed, you know what money to spend where, and that is on your body. We're also going to, of course, jump into the favorite video game pick of the week. I have a couple more ideas of segments that we might throw in. Gonna be meaty. I want to give you a nice meaty podcast, but I want it to be your singular podcast that can be your resource for this type of information. And once this becomes a part of it, hopefully on weeks that if there's a little less information, we can have these other segments supplement the situation and keep us afloat as a podcast. The news. This was a big week for video games and for entertainment in general, but it is also an exciting week. September 2019, what the heck is going on, guys? A whole lot, turns out, such as the PlayStation State of Play. State of Play isn't always the most exciting, but it is sometimes chock full of information, and I have here in front of me the PlayStation blog entry on the State of Play recap. So let's go through here and see exactly what was announced this week and what we can learn. Last of Us Part 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Humanity Arise, and so much more, says the headline. Of course, he's jumping into a lot of the different specifics. Let's see here. There's a little bit of a reveal down at the bottom. Actually, no, he actually has it all laid out pretty clearly. Okay, so kicked off with the reveal of Humanity, a mysterious new title coming to PS4 next year with optional PSVR support, something I have not seen. Check that out, Humanity. And then there was also a lot of new reveals for Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Medieval, which the demo is out today. Interestingly enough, I did not realize that. I'll have to check out that demo. Medieval time. And Civilization 6 coming to PS4, finally. Should have been there a while ago, so I don't really count that as exciting news, truth be told. And Arise, A Simple Story, whatever the heck that is. We also revealed October's PlayStation Plus lineup, which looks good if you're a baseball fan. Or if you're a human being, because The Last of Us Remastered is going to be on it. If you have PlayStation Plus, check out The Last of Us Remastered. It will blow your brains silly, and I mean that in the best possible way. So yeah, those are coming to PlayStation Plus next month. So jump on that. It's free, guys. Download that crap and play it. If you're in the market for a new PlayStation Pro, we got good news. Kojima has an upcoming Death Stranding limited edition bundle, which actually does look pretty dope. They have an orange DualShock 4, double dope, which I would totally dig deep into if I was not incredibly poor. But I don't have a plethora of money to just spend willy-nilly on knickknacks like a Death Stranding limited edition PlayStation 4 Pro. But if you do, it's out there, and it's dope, thanks to the State of Play. There was also a ton of VR news for the PlayStation VR, including Gorn, Aspire 1, After the Fall, LA Noire, interestingly enough, which is going to be, I think, the most exciting out of these games that were announced here. LA Noire, if you don't know, was a Rockstar game. Rockstar, the series developer of Grand Theft Auto, massive mega franchise, and also Red Dead Redemption, another massive mega franchise as of last year. And when you put them on a VR game, anything can freaking happen. And then when you put them on one of their projects that they actually really put a lot of time and effort into, that involved a lot of face-to-face contact that would work well in VR, called LA Noire, hey, see how that went together? I'm excited to see what they put together and what exactly comes through the pipeline with that. We'll see how it goes. I haven't gotten a PlayStation VR myself, but with stuff like this, it makes me more and more excited for where this technology is going. And this week has been big for VR, as you'll see in a little bit. We got some Oculus news breakdowns for you as well. And then they ended the State of Play with a crazy trailer for The Last of Us Part 2 that you should go check out. There is a ton of Last of Us information out there this week. Breakdowns of how the gameplay works, breakdowns of additions to the world, how big it is, ambitious. We're going to talk specifically about the multiplayer in a little bit, but I personally have been avoiding the crap out of that information. You want to know why? Because I was sold on The Last of Us Part 2 when The Last of Us came out, dude. So freaking don't tell me any more crap. I watched this trailer and it gave me too much information. I was like, Although, truth be told, they've even said themselves, you've only seen a sliver of the information in the game. And I think they're telling the truth. I think they've done a really good job of hiding the story, a lot like Marvel has done with their past few movies. And I thank them explicitly for that. And I can't wait to see what they do. I love that the internet is beginning to realize the value of discovery and of letting people find these things and discover them on their own. Spoilers becoming a big thing and whatnot, because it really does show the true experience and what it should be and makes you appreciate it in a way that you would never understand otherwise. And so because of that, Last of Us information is a no-no for Josh. Keep it away because I don't want anything to do with it. But there's a lot out there if you want to check it out. Obviously, and a state of play there. So that's the breakdown for this week. Not a whole lot of information, honestly, outside of the VR stuff. Like, there wasn't, we got some Call of Duty stuff. We got some medieval stuff. But this is all games we already knew. It's just a little more information. Those games that you might be interested in, I'd go recommend those trailers. The Call of Duty trailer is dope. Both of them, I think there's 2 that were released. And so is the Last of Us trailer, truth be told, even though I don't like the fact that it gave away information, but you never know what's going to happen on the internet. So it's up to you and your own discoveries as you go along. Not to be backed down into a corner by the state of play, Xbox had their own little conference thingy this week called Inside Xbox. And my, oh my, it is even more boring than PlayStation's. So, they have a little breakdown here on their website, news.xbox.com, that I'm going to talk through. They preview a bunch of games coming out, I guess. They talk through Project xCloud some more, which is going to be their streaming service, potentially. More game previews. They talk about Game Pass coming to PC, which is kind of cool. I like that. I like that idea. Trailers for games coming out. The Outer Worlds trailer. Oh, Deep Dive with Obsidian. Ooh, so they had a deep dive on the Outer Worlds. If you want to look at that game, check it out there. I wouldn't, but you can if you want. Hitman 2 DLC preview. So they're going into DLC information here. This is pretty slacking. Pretty slack-a-lackin' Xbox. At least there was VR games being talked about at PlayStation's thing. They talked to an interview with John Bernthal, who's in Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Cool. I like that kind of stuff. Not valid information or anything that's really news breaking or anything like that. Previews of games. Another trailer for Ace Combat 7, which is great. I've heard that game is awesome for people who are super interested in flight sims, jet sims. Check out Ace Combat. The trailer that I saw was actually also pretty dope. So people who are liking that sort of game will probably like the information released in this Inside Xbox news recap. But regardless, nothing else really sticks out. And honestly, the information in the Inside Xbox this week was lacking. Not to be double undone by the competition, Google threw their hat in of information to the mix this week. Same day, actually, as the State of Play on Xbox broke on IGN, at least that's where I saw it, the information that the Google Play Pass is kind of a weird model. So Google Play is going to be kind of the way that Google counteracts, I think, the Game Pass on Xbox, as well as PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now on Sony's platforms. The Google Play Pass is going to kind of be their thing on their upcoming Google Stadia streaming service. That's going to be their big competition in the video game space. Google, of course, introducing their Play Pass, though, apparently has a lot of issues, at least with developers, because in a recent fact explaining how royalties for developers work, here, you know what? Let me back up. Let's read this article on IGN by Matt Kim, who is reporting this on September 24th, 2019. Google announced the Google Play Pass today, a new subscription service for Android users. But, in fact, an explainer on how royalties for developers work has some industry professionals worried about game sales moving toward a Spotify model, a model that has been heavily criticized in the past. A Spotify model is a subscription. Well, okay, they're jumping into Google Play, sorry. Google Play Pass is a subscription service where for $4.99 a month, subscribers can have access to a library of games and apps without ads and in-app purchases. This subscription service is similar to the ones offered by Apple and Xbox. However, there is language in the Google Play Pass developer pack that caused some alarm in the game development community. So basically, it works like how Spotify works. The more your songs are listened to, the more money you make. Unfortunately, for Google, developers aren't used to that kind of setup. I honestly think it kind of makes sense for a mobile app, for Android apps anyway. I don't know if it would work so well for Stadia, and actually it doesn't say here. I may have misspoke about this being for Stadia. It sounds more like it's for mobile apps. But if it isn't, and it's being used for Stadia as well, I could see some issues. But for a mobile app, I think this kind of Spotify model is fine. Like, it's kind of how that works, right? I'm not 100% sure how Apple Arcade works, and maybe they go down to break it down here. So developers, okay, I see that explanation. That's a really interesting explanation. So with a Spotify model on a video game, it only really benefits people who are interested in, benefits games who have a living model. So you can't create a game that's 5 hours long and just put that up, at least not for $8, because all it's going to do is 5 hours, which means in the Google Play Pass, over the amount of time that people are spending playing video games, more than likely, they're jumping into Fortnite, the free game, diving into that, putting a few dollars and cents into that, but most of their time is going into those sorts of games that are endlessly replayable, while those 5-hour experiences, those great little indie games that are beautiful and have great little stories, or maybe are fun little gameplay loops for a shorter period of time, or you go through all the 100 level pack and you're done with your mobile game or what have you. All those games you get through in like 8 hours and it's done, which means percentage-wise, they have next to no gameplay value, which means the Play Pass is not going to be friendly towards that kind of person. They're actually saying what could be charged as a $20 game on a PlayStation store is instead nickels and cents on the Google Play because it takes 3 hours. That makes sense to me, and I see the big issues here with this pass. So I don't know if anything's going to change with it. Maybe if more stuff comes up. This is honestly the only article that I saw. I was looking into this for a little bit to see what was going on with this Play Pass, and honestly, I didn't take as much time with it as I probably should have, and now that I am taking the time live with you guys, I'm beginning to see why exactly this is such a big deal, but why isn't there more fuss being made about it? I don't know. Maybe there will be. I'm curious to see if something else does come up, because this is an issue. If games like that can't benefit, then what's the point of being on Android? You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're a part of this pass where Google begins to, it says at the top, it does value pachinko machines in games like Fortnite over actual, maybe regular, valuable, credible video games. Not that those games aren't valuable. I kind of take that word back. But I'm talking about enclosed experiences like what you think of a traditional video game. Like since Super Mario Bros. On the NES, you think of that as World 1 all the way through to World 8. End of the game. That's it. There weren't world packs later. You couldn't customize Mario's different freaking plumbing costumes. You can now. You can do that on all kinds of freaking Mario Kart. Okay, we'll get to Mario Kart on literally 2 stories. I'm going to close my bricks on that. My brakes. Break my brakes on my bricks on that one and move on. So Google Play Pass, lots of issues. We'll see what goes on here. I'm curious if this pops up again. Right now, looks like nothing's happening other than people being upset. Although there is a lot of fuss on the article itself So who knows? Maybe this will get a little more steam going forward. Oculus this week also had a lot of information drop. Remember when I was talking about more VR news? Here it is, guys. Everything Oculus just announced right here from fastcompany.com. Give them the click. They, of course, put the information together for me to guttural gurgitate back into your ears right now. So come on, guys. They did the hard work here. I'm doing the second hardest work. You're doing nothing. Give them a click. So Facebook, of course, owns Oculus Quest, if you did not realize that. Oculus, their VR technology, owned by Valve. Of course, creators of Half-Life. Kind of cool how that all works out. In any case, they are super duper into VR right now. They've always been a very techie company. They, of course, set up the amazing Steam-based model shop that's being now optimized on stores like the PlayStation Store. Same model, anyway. Facebook Horizon is a new VR setup, probably combined like Facebook and avatars and video game stuff. It looks like PlayStation Home, but it's VR now. That's about it. Something from their thing. Oculus Quest has lots of upgrades, which is great. Oculus released Quest its second try at wireless VR headset, meaning it doesn't require dangling cords and a honking gaming PC. Okay, this Quest looks dope. I want one so bad. If someone would give one to me, I would cry my eyeballs out. My eyeballs would cry out themselves into nothingness. They would pull into themselves until they created eyeball soup that would then become delicious to me because I'm blind, and it would give me sight. That's how great and amazing Oculus Quest is. And I can't wait to freaking get my hands on one. I'm going to save up for one and get one of these days. But I'm also kind of waiting because of this information here. Because here's what they're freaking saying. This is insane to me that they're going to be able to do this. And you can look up this trailer right now. Oculus is going to bring hand tracking to the device. That's coming sometime in early 2020 as an experimental feature. That blows my freaking mind. We've gotten to the point now where you can put a headset on that takes you, it envelops you, makes you feel like you're in a different spot. And not only can the headset be its own like camera that tracks your movements, but you don't need a controller that works as a beacon anymore. If you look at other VR headsets, you always have controllers that you're using because the headset and the VR camera needs to use that to track where your movements are. And it's pretty one-to-one, which is great. It usually works incredibly well. But they're beginning to do away with that. We're literally getting into Ready Player One scenarios here, guys. And it's crazy. Check out the Oculus trailer because it is great. I want to make sure that you enjoy every single piece of information of news this week. I'm not going to react to it because I have other things to react to. And there is a whole lot more content, including a Star Wars VR game, Vader Immortal, which looks dope. Oh, I actually want to watch this. All right, screw it. We are live reacting right now to Vader Immortal, a Star Wars VR Episode 2 studio trailer. What the what? All right, headsets on. Hands technology not working yet. The journey continues because I guess there was a Vader Immortal 1. So this is Vader Immortal 2. Ooh. So you are Vader. Oh, and you're not here. Now you're not Vader. Now you're some floaty alien freak boy. Actually, I think you're following him. I take that back. Whoa. Is that lightsaber with fire pit emblem characters? Kid Icarus? The music's super exciting and the action is not because it's a VR game. Like that guy. He looks like he'd be my best friend. Oh, defend yourself. Thanks, Vader. You threw that really slowly so I could catch it. Everyone's reacting slowly so I can actually do this and not be ninja level. Which is what it would be. But who actually expects someone as a gamer to do ninja level speed? Nobody. Although I like the amount of stuff you can do. And the fact that they even are able to break down a Rancor fight in VR for you is, I'm sure, something worth playing on its own. And well worth the money. Oh, available now! Oh! I need that in my life. Oh, I want one of those so bad. Oculus Quest, guys. It's the future in your hands. Literally, the future is here. You didn't know it, but it's here. There's also a Medal of Honor game that's being released in VR. We'll get to that in just a second. Oculus news, guys. Get yourself an Oculus Quest. I promise you, it's worth every penny. It's like $700 or so. No, it's not that much. It's like $400. It's still a lot. But not any more than Mario Kart is trying to charge us. That's a little facetious because Mario Kart Tour, which was released this week on mobile and which we'll do a review roundup of at the very end of this episode, has a lot of interesting issues with microtransactions, apparently. And so let's go ahead and take a look at those. This breakdown from IGN. Joe Screbbles talks about Mario Kart Tour here, saying that Nintendo's newest free-to-start mobile game has begun rolling out on both iOS and Android. With that rollout, one of its approaches to paid content has also become clear. The Gold Pass is a subscription service that costs $4.99 a month. Mario Kart Tour is a mobile game, its own little game, and if you want to get its Game Pass thing, which is the equivalent to a Fortnite Pass, it's $4.99 a month. $5 a month. For the same amount of money, you can get all of the Apple Arcade games. For the same amount of money, you can get something freaking else, because this is not worth the money, and this is insane that they're even trying to pull this off. Nintendo has not been nailing their mobile game service. I will say that right now. And this is proof in the pudding right here. What are they thinking? How are they thinking they're going to get away with this? I really hope that there is a big backlash to this. This is me backlashing right here. I'm mad. The subscription sits alongside the gacha-style microtransaction. So, okay, I'm reading along in this article a little bit more here on IGN. Give them a click. You're not doing anything else. Give them a freaking click. I'm sorry I'm being aggressive. I take it back. Do what you want. In fact, I want you to have a good time. Bring some muffin buns or something and lick them while you talk to me. And send me questions. Joshua.gallegos.freelance.com. You can send me questions there, and I'll answer them for you in your face. Emails are a great way to communicate. People want to say that they're old. They're not. Keep using them. Anyway, diving back into IGN. That subscription sits alongside the gacha-style microtransactions familiar from other Nintendo mobile games. So not only do they have this bizarre $5 games pass, but there are also the microtransactions that you'd regularly see in a game like this. They're really trying to capitalize on that crap. And, you know, they're probably making hand over fists of money, and so they don't care. But it is really annoying. And the fact that they have this game, which really does not control that well, I don't know if you have it. It is free to start, so I would suggest at least trying it out. It's not going to be worth that $5 pass, and it's not going to be worth any of these maybe a couple of cool things that you can get in the microtransactions. But what the heck, Nintendo? Like, they are using nostalgia and abusing it to the max now. And there was talk back in 2007, 2006, even before then, of Nintendo milking their franchises, and they've been milking it for all it's worth up until this point, and they will continue to do so forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And Mario Kart Tour is no exception. Avoid this game. Boycott it, for all I care. Go on Reddit and scream, please, with me. Put this clip everywhere of me shouting and screaming. I don't even understand myself right now, and I want it to be clear that I'm unhappy. Mario Kart Tour. Add me. So we're talking about Medal of Honor Above and Beyond, which was announced, and it is in VR. Now, Medal of Honor, a classic series that has not been seen since the original, or since the last reboot, which was in like 2010 or something. It was a long time ago. And now this game's coming out in 2020. Last 10 to 12 hour campaign, a lot by VR standards, and it is being made by Respawn Entertainment. Ba-da-da-da! Which is crazy because not only did they create Apex Legends this year, but they also have their Star Wars game coming out at the end of this year, and apparently also this Medal of Honor game. So good for them. Medal of Honor is a well-worn franchise and something that really has no right to be back in any way, shape, or form. And yet here it is, before our eyes, as a VR game, and actually I think this is the best possible route for it. Call of Duty has its niche tethered out. We have Fortnite taking over another scene on. There's like no more. Battlefield is floundering. Like there's no more room for another one of these. So VR is a great way to go. And I'm really excited to see what this game actually turns out to be. Man, I need a VR headset so freaking bad, guys, for games like this. This is the next level. We were wondering when it was going to happen. It's happening before our eyes. Look around you. The technology is here. Put it on your face. Let's talk about The Last of Us Part 2 and its multiplayer. Now, The Last of Us, one of the most amazing games of all time, bar none. I cannot stress enough that phrase and its seriousness. I know that people throw that around with literally everything, but in this case, it is the truth. The Last of Us is amazing, and its multiplayer is a big part of why. And so now this information that The Last of Us Part 2, along with all the other information that was released this week, which I have been avoiding, but this headline caught my interest and in fact does not spoil any story, so I am okay with that. I don't know why my voice got lower. It's because I had a burp and I swallowed it and now it is stuck. Without any multiplayer, The Last of Us Part 2 better be great. That's all I'm going to say. And I know that's selfish, but they're carving it out. And based on this article, which I am reading from Forbes, not only are they carving it out, but they're putting it in somewhere freaking else. I hope, and I've seen the theory, that The Last of Us Part 2's multiplayer... So let me start reading this article real quick, and then I'll tell my theory. I will admit, writes Forbes writer Paul Tassi, that I just wrote a rather confusing headline, which is... I'm not going to read it. But it's a rather confusing story. Yesterday, news broke that The Last of Us Part 2 would not have a multiplayer component. He says he forgot The Last of Us 1 had a multiplayer. How dare he, because that multiplayer was applauded and lauded and loved by everybody who actually freaking tried it. Naughty Dog, a few days ago, mentioned that they were going to not have multiplayer in The Last of Us Part 2 because the game was apparently too big. That was what they said. And they also said a little bit later something that was even more clarifying. And so this is interesting. And one of my theories that one of the theories that I've heard that I'm beginning to think may be correct is that this is going to just be added on later. But it's strange that they started by saying there is no multiplayer at all. Which also makes me think that with what they say here, maybe, just maybe, there's another Last of Us game coming out. Naughty Dog's statement. We wanted to address multiplayer in The Last of Us Part 2. As we've stated, the single-player campaign is far and away the most ambitious project Naughty Dog has ever undertaken. Likewise, as development began on the evolution of our factions mode from The Last of Us Part 2, the vision of the team grew beyond an additional mode that could be included with our enormous single-player campaign. So he's saying the development on their multiplayer mode was happening, and it just got too big. Wanting to support both visions, we made the difficult choice that The Last of Us Part 2 would not include an online mode. What? However, and here's the interesting tidbit, you will eventually experience the fruits of our team's online ambition, but not as a part of The Last of Us Part 2. When and where will we realize is still to be determined, but rest assured we are as big a fan of factions as the rest of our community and are excited to share more when it's ready. So, this means that the multiplayer is still out there, which makes me happy, and I am relieved that this is the case because the multiplayer in the original Last of Us is engaging, incredible, and so unique, and I wish that more people played it. In any case, and there's my phrase again, people should at least try it out, whatever the frick it is, when it comes out here, because it is good, and now we have access to it without the plethora of PlayStation 4s that are out there. They seem to be hinting at a different game here, almost as if it's a whole new PlayStation Network digital only. Maybe they repackage it into a whole new experience. Perhaps they're trying to get in on that Fortnite money, and this is Sony's answer to the battle arena scene that's going on. Literally, this could be anything. And it's so vague what's going on right here that it could be a DLC update at one point. It could be a free update at one point that just pops in on the game like Red Dead Online with Red Dead Redemption 2. They did the same thing. They launched without an online and it came on later. Or this could be a totally separate, almost makes me think free-to-play model. When he says online ambition and he says when and where it will be realized is still to be determined, that makes me think, what? They haven't figured out exactly how this is going to look. Maybe they're gauging free-to-play. Who knows? Who knows? But things are going on over there in Naughty Dog, and I'm really excited to see what they deliver with The Last of Us when it comes out in February. And I also cannot wait to see what goes on with this multiplayer and how exactly it pans out. The rumored Batman game kerfuffle, explained by comicsbeat.com. Thank you, comicsbeat.com, for breaking this down for me. There has been a lot of information this week going around the internet about Batman and this weird thing called the Court of Owls. And I had no idea what the heck was happening. And so this article here really helped me out. Give them that click. Here they are breaking down exactly what's going on with Batman the Court of Owls. Apparently there has been a tease by WB Games Montreal, the creators of Batman Arkham Origins, which was the kind of like knockoff version of the Batman trilogy that was being made by Rocksteady. Instead, it was created by these developers, WB Games Montreal. And here there is this rumor source that's going on that is leading people to believe that they are creating a Batman game based on the Court of Owls storyline. I did not know what the Court of Owls storyline was, so I checked it out, and here they have a little bit of a breakdown. Oh, they're having a breakdown of everything that's going on. Okay, so here's all the information on what exactly happened with Batman. Nothing happened in PlayStation State of Play or Inside Xbox, which are both key events that occurred this week that we already broke down. So Batman could have fit there, which means that it's not necessarily ready. But these teases that have been dropped, a couple of tweets, Scott Snyder apparently said, wait for it, hashtag beware the Court of Owls, makes this game seem more and more credible, and the reality of it, at least, more and more close to being realized. The Court of Owls are apparently an ancient assassin group centered around hooting. Just kidding. I don't really know why they're so cool, and I'm curious to learn more. So, yeah, information. Can't wait to see what goes on. WB Games Montreal, a more than capable developer to make a great Batman game. And with a super unique premise that we haven't seen before in games or movies, they could knock this out of the park. So we'll see. Second to last news storyline for this week, our news headline for this week. The Uncharted movie has a potential director. This from Deadline.com. Thank you for this information, Deadline. Go give him a click. Travis Knight, the director of Bumblebee, is apparently negotiating with Sony right now to direct Uncharted, the Sony Pictures film adaptation of the massive selling PlayStation game. This bodes well. It really does. Travis Knight, an up-and-coming director who has really shown his stuff with a couple of great properties and treated them respectfully while also engaging them in new ways. And seeing him take on a whole new product that he can realize on his own terms and take these ideas that were presented in Naughty Dog already and take a new concept with a younger Nathan Drake in Tom Holland, I really think that they can do something great. The last dude was Dan Trachtenberg. I don't even know who the frick this guy is. I'm clicking on his face. Who is he? Latest. He's got a face that's dumb. I don't even like his face. That's how dumb his face is. And here he is, freaking getting replaced with someone who's got some chops about him, and I cannot wait to see what they do. Of course, this movie has been in development hell for years. Since the original Uncharted, they've been talking about a freaking movie. So who knows whether or not this turns out to be any good. But I feel a lot better about it now. And I can't wait to see what they do. Last little piece of news this week came to us in the form of Minecraft. Good old Minecraft. And they're getting into the space of mobile AR games, just like Pokemon Go, just like that Ghostbusters game that was released. There was a Harry Potter version. You know those ones where you're walking around the frickin' world and collecting crap? There's a lot more than just Pokemon Go now. That was like the phenomenon, that happened a couple years ago. Not happening any freaking more. It's still kind of big, but now we have Minecraft jumping in on that good, and they're trying to develop it into a really cool idea. Adventure locations are constantly changing. You got little gameplay clips going on here, different biomes. You can craft a lot of different stuff. It's not Minecraft Lite. It's about real life shenanigans. There's a whole breakdown of different stuff that's going on with Minecraft Earth coming out. And I'm really curious to see if they do anything different with the genre. This is the same thing with a lot of Minecraft elements like crafting and building, which is great. People love that crap. Freaking do it in real life now. It's awesome. On your phone. Build something on your computer screen for your phone desk. Build something on your desk with your phone and then hold it up and show your kid and be like, what the frick? Why is it on your desk and not why is it on your phone and not actually on your desk? That kind of stuff is awesome. So do it with Minecraft now. And if you want to learn more information about the details, check out this article. Also from IGN, a lot from IGN because they are a great news source. With that in mind, let's jump into the live reacts for this week because I'm really freaking having a hard time staying focused. So let's go ahead, loosen up, and dive deep into this first little piece of Plants vs. Zombies Battle Arena gameplay. What the heck is Battle Arena? It looks like a 4-player 4 game that is being incorporated in the next Plants vs. Zombies release. This is no longer your average iPhone handheld game. It's crazy how different Plants vs. Zombies is now. This is a full-fledged Battle Arena multiplayer game with tons of characters, different abilities, depth in its strategy, and all kinds of other stuff going on. Just look at the footage online if you want to see exactly what's going on with Plants vs. Zombies these days. It is not the franchise it used to be. It's all grown up. A lot of people, I think, were turned off by the idea, but this is what Plants vs. Zombies is now. There's been a couple of Garden Warfare games. This is the most recent one, and honestly, it looks like the best. They're only improving on the concept, and it's paying off. It's getting better and better. So I wanted you to be aware of that. I'm not going to look at this a whole lot because we are running way too late right now. And we're going to jump into another little thing that was revealed this week. PT Silent Hill has a secret, a brand new secret. I'm going to pull this up. This was Lance McDonald who broke this down on YouTube. He is apparently really good at diving deep into video games and showing things that were cut, explaining code and the different aspects that were being removed by developers or what their process was behind it. He likes to cross-examine and deconstruct. Whoa, that was freaky. I did not like that. I have not played PT, but PT was considered one of the most scary games of all time, and it is just a demo. It was a free demo that you could download. It was supposed to be a highlight for Hideo Kojima's upcoming Silent Hills game before it was canceled tragically and removed. You can no longer download PT. I think you can still find it if you still scary. If you can, get it like bootlegged, but you can't just get it straight from a store. No longer accessible in that way in any shape or form. And people are still mining it and finding secrets and deeper meaning behind different things that are going on in this crazy, insanely intelligent, whirly-dirly, horrific demo. And in Lance McDonald's breakdown here on YouTube, I'm going to skip ahead to where this happens, but he shows a whole new development in the storyline, a whole new scene that was not originally or in the original demo, but that was in the code. And here it is. There's a whole bathtub scene with a dead body, showing the tragic death of the girl in the house. And it's pretty cool that there's so many different secrets in this demo still popping up even today. And with these hacks, we can really find a lot of little tidbits and see the brain of some of these brilliant developers that are putting together some of gaming's greatest experiences. Death Stranding, Hideo Kojima's upcoming game, obviously coming out this year, is going to be an example of this sort of thing. So check out that. Also, 2 amazing trailers this week, starting with Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which I will voice over. Ooh, here it comes. A new Star Wars trailer. Explosions are great. He's standing up. This guy still just looks like freaking... to me, for some reason, he looks like the guy who plays Pennywise the Dancing Clown. Okay, so there's a new bad guy. He looks like one of the Inquisitors.
Who are you people?
Which are from Star Wars Rebels.
That thing off and
That guy is fuzzy and weird. Looks very dramatic. I like the way this looks, though. Truth be told.
I know you don't trust me. But we have a common enemy.
Okay, so she's trying to convince him of something. So he's being pulled into this. I like that. He wasn't, like, leading anything. I like when the hero is pulled into it. I don't know why. That's just my thing. That guy looks dope. Looks like a chick, actually. I take it back.
We're done hiding, Cal.
Sheesh. Okay, the gameplay does look amazing. Everything that they showed at E3, holy crap. I am so looking forward to seeing how in-depth it actually gets. Definitely not going to be Devil May Cry levels probably, but even just combining it with the epic moments, this game is going to be, oh my gosh. I can't wait to see what they do. Hopefully the story doesn't disappoint. Because Battlefront, the last Star Wars game, that story is super disappointed. But it looks like they're going around on the right track. I like the monsters. I like the epic moments. Lots of lightsaber fighting and Jedi goodness. Apparently, someone said that Darth Vader's voice is in that. I heard nothing. But he's being teased. Loody-doo. Darth Vader, because he is the Star Wars villain. Can't ever have anybody else. Apex Legends, boys and girls. Apex Legends Season 3 coming out here for you and me. Apex Legends, one of my gaming friends' favorite series, coming out with Season 3 already. And this is their cinematic trailer that they just dropped, showing off not only their new guy, but a new map, boys and girls, that has great little biome differences and a cool different vibe to it. I think it's crazy that they're already launching a new map, going in a totally different direction than Fortnite, which has just stuck with the one map and just constantly updated it. Instead, they're doing both. They're updating and they're adding new maps. I think they're ahead of the curve with this one. And I love the way that this map looks. Yeah. Intense. See, none of my games ever, I mean, they do get like this at times for sure. But okay, so there's a straight up train. I like that. This dude has... I'm still not 100% clear on this guy's abilities. I really got to look a little bit closer at that. The new dude for Season 3. But he looks like this emo, tattooed dude that has a... He's got like a freaking drone, bro. This song is dope. Poppin'. Yeah. Flipping around the map. Jumping and shooting them with that crap. That chick looked like a demon. They got a whole lot of new costumes too. I don't know how I feel about that. It's a little try-hard, isn't it? That's what I feel about the costumes, dude. I feel like they're try-hard. But people freaking dig it. People are all about costumes. Why? Explain it to me. Why? You're not that individual. You're still just an avatar on a screen. Apex Legends Meltdown Season 3 coming out this Tuesday. So be looking for that, boys and girls. I'm going to play it. I'm freaking playing it, guys. I can't help myself. I just love it so much. Let's jump into the last big section of our podcast this week, Review Roundup. With Review Roundup, let's begin to see what the aggregate scores out there are telling us about the games released this week. Starting with our favorite, probably the weirdest game that we're going to see in this roundup here. Contra Rogue Core. If you're on the YouTube version of this podcast, you're going to see Contra Rogue Core footage, and you're going to realize that this is not what you thought Contra was. If you hear Contra, you either think of a Vietnam controversy or you think of a silly 80s video game. This is neither of those things. This is its horrific, disgusting stepson that took over the basement and smokes meth every night. And yeah, it's weird is what I'm trying to say. And the critic reviews here are reflecting that. It doesn't look like it's doing so great, especially on Nintendo Switch. Really bad reviews. Apparently more because of the way that it processes. It doesn't look like it runs very well or that it's optimized by it. This is kind of Konami's really poor attempt at a game. They've been doing really poorly with video games recently. Ever since Kojima left, Konami has been just doing their pachinko machines in Japan, which I guess are incredibly profitable. They don't need video games necessarily, but why are they busting out this crap when they do make a video game? 5.5 from Destructoid out of 10. A 7 out of 10 out of GameSpew, which says there's room for improvement, but Contra Rogue Core is very enjoyable for the most part. Okay, 7 out of 10 is not bad. IGN says a game that arrives a generation late, improvable in all aspects except its cooperative and thug style. Okay, interesting. IGN Spain, 6 out of 10. Okay, so it's an average game from what I'm seeing, although there are a couple of 2 out of 10s, and like the Slant gave it 2 out of 5 stars. Perhaps its effort to fit in with the big dogs of the gaming world would be more tolerable if there were more variety to its challenges. So apparently it's a repetitive, boring Contra ripoff with weird customization. So check it out. I guess on Metacritic the score is a 54 out of 100. Not good. And on OpenCritic, it is a 59. Contra Rogue Core this week, ladies and gentlemen. Check it out. Or actually, skip it, I would say. Skip that one. Code Vein also released this week. A really unique anime video game that has ties to Dark Souls-esque gameplay. So it's an anime Dark Souls game, basically. So if anyone likes that kind of idea, apparently it worked out. According to reviews, this on a Reset Era thread. Thanks, Reset Era, which is also super dope. I suggest Reset Era to people who are interested in video games for great conversations. Code Vein this week was released, and the review thread looks okay. Metacritic score is 70, and the OpenCritic score is 74. So not bad, actually, Code Vein, which I'm kind of surprised with, because I guess some of the previews that were going on for the game, this, of course, being the anime Dark Souls game that really does totally rip off Dark Souls in every way, shape, or form. But it's anime, so that's okay. GameSpot gave it a 6. They say Code Vein adopts the Souls-like formula in its structure, presenting a familiar cycle of progression and basic combat similarities, and there are some interesting ideas here too, built around the use of various blood codes and their distinct gifts. You can see the fragments of a fantastic game hidden within these systems and its meaty combat feedback, but the mundanity of its enemies and the effect they have on nullifying the combat's enjoyment prevent Code Vein from ever realizing its potential. So for them, the enemies sucked so bad that everything else sucked because of it. Not sure how I feel about that, GameSpot. I don't know if I would be deterred from buying this game just based on that one, GameSpot. IGN gave it a 7 out of 10, which sounds probably more like it, and they say despite building itself on well-treaded ground, Code Vein definitely moves to the beat of its own drummer, but that beat can lose its rhythm when you need it to be steady. Some changes, like being able to easily switch around and experiment with classes on the fly, are great, while others, like its inconsistent AI partner, could be more trouble than they are worth at times. But in both the good and the bad, I appreciate its enthusiasm for mixing things up and getting a little weird. If you're looking for a unique take on a familiar type of challenge, Dark Souls challenge that is, and are open to loving and hating a game for its many mechanical quirks in the same breath, Code Vein is worth sinking your teeth into. Also not convincing, IGN. That was, honestly, not a great review. And there are more. Game Informer gave it a 6.5. Push Square gave it a 7 out of 10. That's good. I would check out at least one review and see how you feel about the game before buying it, because I am probably not going to ever touch it. The Surge 2 also released this week, a really unique game that I had really no idea what was going to be going on with, and apparently it's gotten some pretty great scores. A 75 on Metacritic, while also being posted with a 77 on OpenCritic, which is usually typically more accurate than Metacritic, but less popular for some reason. OpenCritic is a little bit better, just so you know. Looks like it's gotten a lot of great reviews from the Easy Allies, from ACG Gamer on YouTube, from a lot of the major outlets. Rock, Paper, Shotgun has not scored it. IGN gave it a 7.6. Oh, they have it. Oh, that's cool. They have it like going all the way up. Okay, so the people that scored it the highest are kind of a bunch of nerds. And then the people who scored it in the middle are kind of the press, the main dudes. And the people who scored it lower are also kind of press. So it's in between there somewhere, all right? The Surge 2. Honestly, I don't even know what this is. So when I start to cut this video together and see the trailer, I'm going to be really curious to see how exactly this game looks. But maybe you're interested. Apparently it's good. 70s are good. Swimming in 70s, boys and girls. It's what you got to do. According to Michael Damiani from the Easy Allies, check out their podcast. Mario Kart Tour was also released this week to bad reviews. Although Metacritic is what I'm going off of here, and they only have 8 critics, and it's a 60. A user score of 3.8, which is a 53 rating based setup, sounds more accurate. 3.8 sounds more accurate to me than 60, because this game is not good. I do not recommend it. And it's just trying to steal your money, boys and girls. Don't let it steal your money. That's how games work these days. Don't let them do it. Oh, let's wrap this system up, all right? Because I am lagging here. Thank you for listening to the default podcast. This is not the default podcast. This is my favorite video game. And let's go ahead and talk about the favorite video game pick of the week. Ratchet & Clank, Up Your Arsenal. Now, I cannot say enough about this game and its appeal. Unfortunately, we can't access it directly with modern consoles. I take that back immediately because you can play it on PlayStation Now on the PlayStation 4. But outside of that, there haven't been any remasters, re-releases that are on the console available to buy. And the only way to do it is to stream it through their PlayStation Now, so it's kind of cruddy. But this is the best game in the Ratchet & Clank franchise, bar none. I think it's the game I've put the most time into, over 500 hours at least. And that's because of its endless replayability. Ratchet & Clank series, developed by Insomniac, is bursting with personality. It's like a Pixar series, truth be told. Like the story, the vibrancy of the characters, and they really proved that with their most recent release. And they're beginning to prove that even more and more as you look back on their games. These games are top notch and up your arsenal with a hilarious title, which is a pun. Each of their games is a pun. The second one is Going Commando. The third one is Up Your Arsenal, which are hilarious. Those are the only three. This game is worth every penny that you could put into it. I'm just going to put it that way. You could develop this for years and still not get as fine a product as you get the one here. Ratchet & Clank Up Your Arsenal is so much fun to play, so many different characters interacting into making a story that really has no boring beats. And the way that it pays off really is worth it. And I love the different ways that they engage the different characters that were established in the first two games. This is a legacy, and they tie it up really greatly with a bow here. And then immediately screw it up with Ratchet Deadlocked the following year, I think, was released. But Up Your Arsenal sees Ratchet dealing with fame and fortune and the goodness of his life. We also see the introduction of one of his prime villains, and just this is a great game overall. If you ever were interested in a Ratchet & Clank game, play this game. Thanks for listening to the podcast this week. We're going to be updating a lot more going on into the next week, and I really am excited to tell you guys about what's coming down the pipeline. You'll be seeing the Uncharted article pop up this week, and hopefully even a Persona article along with this podcast. Lots of content coming your way, a lot of information to digest, and things to learn. Sit down and learn something new this week. I guarantee you will not regret it. And keep on playing, gamers.